Detroit Den 313. We're back. Stephen Will talking that Detroit Lions football. Before we get going, you know what to do. Hit that subscribe button and don't forget the bell icon so you do not miss any of our new content. Steve, day 2 of this NFL draft in Detroit. We are still breaking records for attendance. How you feeling day 2?
The record will be broken. And as you can see, I am glad to be home. Glad with our normal setup. We like to put out good quality. I appreciate you guys for roughing it with us last night in the hotel rooms, the Airbnbs with cars backfiring in the background. Glad to be home. But yeah, it's pretty awesome to see Detroit breaking records for the draft. I think the record will officially be broken tomorrow. Awesome to see. Um, Man, I'm excited, Will. And I'll tell you right now, I'm going to be a little honest. The Detroit Lions picking Ennis Rakestraw out of Missouri. My first reaction was, I got to let this sink in for a minute. I got to let it sit because I was surprised. I was not expecting to go cornerback, back to back picks. But once I sat there and I realized Brad Holmes is making our weakness a strength, he's done it time in, time out. Our defensive backs room is absolutely loaded. How do you feel about Rakestraw?
Well, first things first, I'll say that my reaction was the opposite. As soon as we did it, I was like, wow, our secondary is a problem. Of course, my phone got flooded with messages like, "Hey, what the heck is even going on right now? What are we doing? I'm confused. Hey, can you explain this to me or whatever?" And the first thing I thought about, and I think I sent it to you in a text and a couple other people, no fly zone. No fly zone. You're not gonna come to Detroit and throw this ball around. Ennis Rakestraw, he's had a couple of injury issues throughout his career at Missouri. He's not the fastest guy in the world. But we did a show on him. Obviously, we've been at this thing for months now, but it was a few months ago, and we've talked about him a little bit because he was linked to the Lions quite a bit. And I spoke my piece on him. He plays with moxie. He plays with a level of physicality. Uh, I think that he's a guy who fits the mold of what we look for in Detroit. So my my only questions with Ennis Rakestraw were there were corners that I liked more than Ennis Rakestraw. And one of the corners that I liked more than Ennis Rakestraw was Terrion Arnold. So if you're telling me we're living in a world, actually, it's not if you're telling me we are living in a world that I have them both on my team, I'm extremely happy because that immediately uh, makes me not as worried about the injury concerns and durability issues because we have a deep room and we have ways to answer and solve problems if guys need to sit out for a little bit of time. So love his game. I think that he's tough, and I'm excited to see iron sharpening iron in camp this year. How you feel about Ennis?
Like I said, initial reaction was surprised just because me personally was not expecting Terrion Arnold to be drafted yesterday. I was standing up, clapping, watching at Ford Field, ecstatic. Today, I was just a little surprised. I was not expecting another corner. I thought the Lions were going to go either wide receiver, possibly an edge rusher, or maybe an interior offensive lineman. Brad says, no, 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 we're going to shore up the secondary. And that's exactly what it did. So I was a little bit surprised. But then as I sat there for like a minute or two, I started thinking, like, yeah, Brad was getting really sick of watching these other teams just absolutely pass the ball on us for 400 yards a game last year. I'm going to go out. I'm going to trade for Carlton Davis, sign a Meek Robertson, re-sign Emmanuel Mosley. And on top of that, I'm going to draft Terrion Arnold, one of the best cornerbacks in the draft. Second round, you guys think I'm done? No, no, no. I'm going to go out and draft Ennis Rakestraw. I'm just going to lock down this secondary. I tweeted out a picture of everyone we have on this roster. Our defensive backs room, I think this is the one of the top potentially best DB rooms in the NFL. William, I'm that excited. Like I said, I was just a little shocked because I wasn't expecting a corner.
I'll be honest, I can't sit up here and say that I was expecting it either, but at the same time, uh, my mind isn't super blown. When you put together the totality of everything, I will say that I got to pump the brakes on our secondary being one of the best because I
Not
got
me.
to
Full
see.
send, baby. Full send.
I got to see. I mean, we still got two guys that haven't even taken a snap. We got another guy who wasn't even in the picture, and you haven't mentioned him. The complete disrespect I don't understand in Emmanuel Mosley, who wasn't even in
I
the
thought I
in the
mentioned Mosley.
nope, and he's not in the photograph, but he's another one that goes to show you how good this thing is. So, um, I think that without those guys, being in the mix, um, I think that you got to remember these are veterans. Who knows what these rookies are going to come in and do? Who knows what the speed of the game is going to look like? So I do love the competition that's going to be in camp, though. I think that how do you get better? You compete, right? And you got guys that are going to be fighting tooth and nail to get on the field. No different than Brian Branch. Brian Branch was not expected to be out there week one, getting after it, getting pick sixes, but he fought his way and clawed his way through camp and got on the field. So I think that that's what we're going to see. We're going to see Rakestraw competing, Arnold competing, you know, obviously Carlton Davis, Amik Roberson, Emmanuel Mosley, Brian Branch, like and the safety room. The guys are going to be out there competing. Um, and then I thought about this too when I saw that we drafted Rakestraw. It's where I my mind went immediately, and I thought about Brad Holmes said something. I made mention to it a couple of times. He does not care what this roster looks like now. He wants to know what it's going to look like in November. If anybody gets banged up, we're going to have a dog stepping in. We're gonna have a dog stepping in. So hey, Roberson goes down. Maybe we bring one of these guys off the bench, whether it's Rakestraw, whether it's Terrion Arnold, depending on who wins what jobs or whatever. We're gonna have dogs to plug and play. So come November time, if somebody's banged up, it's not necessarily gonna be a liability. We're not going to have, and no disrespect to Kendall Vildor, but it's not going to be Kendall Vildor stepping in. It's not going to be Dorsey stepping in. It's not going to be some guy that's on our practice squad stepping in. We're going to have a dog stepping in who's eager, hungry, and ready to make some plays. Just putting some substance to why this could be an issue. Something that's been talked about, something that people have been dropping breadcrumbs about and kind of mocking us when we picked up Carlton Davis. 2018, he was out with a knee injury, right? That he fought and fought and fought. Then 2019, out with a hip injury that he had to fight through him and battled with. 2020, a growing injury, right? 2021, hamstring injury, right? 2022 had another hip flare up, right? 2022, later on in the season, there was a shoulder injury, week 18, that had him out, right? Also, a toe injury in 2023 that had him out, had him sit out time, right? The growing had him sit out time. And then week 17, a concussion had Carlton Davis sitting out time. Listen, I'm not here to throw shade at him. He's coming here. He said he's going to be a lockdown corner. And I told you guys about the film and watching him compete against Justin Jefferson. But if there is some issues and he does need to miss time, we got dogs playing behind him. Brad Holmes, to me, I don't know that he necessarily only wanted to have protection against situations like this. I think that he truly drafted who was number one on his board. Rakestraw is obviously, if he said that these were his two highest ranked corners for a fit for the Detroit Lions, then obviously Rakestraw was the one that he was planning to get, because he said yesterday that he didn't plan on Terrion Arnold being there. Right. So his target was Ennis Rakestraw. And I think that once it got to us and he was still on the board, he said, hey, man, listen, this is who I thought we were drafting anyways at pick 29. If we had to pick at 29, or if we were trading back a couple of picks, I'm going to go get my guy. And this is going to shore up some things for me. I think that depending on what we do in the rest of this draft, obviously there's some major confidence in James Houston, Marcus Davenport, right? Maybe Betts, even, I don't know if they've seen something in him, but they think they got enough to help Aiden out. Or I don't know, man, Steve, maybe we're just going to throw corners at everybody and just lock everybody up for 15 minutes. Like at this point, I don't know what's what, man. How you feel?
I'll say this. You kind of stole my thunder because I was about to say, the days of us getting late into the season and having to deal with injuries and trying to play this shuffle is over. The days of signing Kendall Vildor from the Chicago Bears practice squad to come in and play starting football for the Lions, that's a huge jump. Like, you're taking a guy from a practice team from a division rival who's not playing in the NFL, kind of, and then saying, hey, come to Detroit. We need you this Sunday to play football, start, and be productive.
Mhm.
and it was a liability.
Yeah.
I hope Kendall Vildor progresses. Maybe he earns the spot on the team as a special teamer and kind of fights and that kind of thing. Maybe he'll be a little bit more prepared being with the Lions for a little bit longer of time. But like you said, if someone goes down now, we don't have to worry about that. We have guys we can just next man up, next man up, next man up. And I think my mindset is fixing the pass rush so that we don't get shredded. But there's another way to fix it, and that's just to have guys locked down, have these coverage sacks. They're not as sexy to me. And I will say this: I had a lot of people texting me today too, asking me, "Do you like this? How do you feel? Like what's this all about?" And I had to take a minute and think. My first reaction was, and I texted everyone this: if Marcus Davenport is what Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell and Aaron Glenn think he's going to be, this defense is going to be an absolute problem. If Carlton Davis, and I think he said this because he's truly confident, and I hope he's right when he talks about being a lockdown corner, taking away one side of the field. If he can truly be that guy, and we have all these corners who only have to defend one half of the field, and Marcus Davenport is what we think he could be if he stays healthy, William, my dreams of a top 10 defense are true. I still have some questions, but I think any team after the draft or during the draft, you're going to have questions. You're not going to find out until we get to training camp. But just the possibility of Marcus Davenport playing at 14 games, Carlton Davis being that lockdown corner. Now you got Terrion Arnold, Rakestraw, Brian Branch out there just having to defend not as much space. Man, this defense could be fun to watch. We could put to bed a lot of stuff about we show up on Saturdays, Sundays, Mondays, and we win the game. We don't have to worry about that if the Lions defense shows up. I think we're in a very nice spot. I think it took a lot of people by surprise. I've already seen some reactions from some other people in our, I don't want to call them coworkers. I almost call them coworkers, but some other people who have a platform who weren't very happy about this. Like, you got to understand, Marcus Davenport is probably going to be my biggest X factor going into the season. And I think he can make this defense elite. Our secondary is loaded. We got a very young linebacking core, Anzalone, still playing at a high level, but I won't say he's young. Marcus Davenport, Aleem McNeil, DJ Reader, Aiden Hutchinson, a completely revamped secondary. It's scary to me, William. It's scary.
I get it, man. The only thing that I feel like you're missing there is Josh Pascal, man, because I feel like we're coming into year 3. He was banged up a little bit to kick this thing off. I feel like last season was a little bit of his rookie season, and year 3 with the best D-line coach in the league, nice off season to get his feet truly under him where he could truly train and not be banged up. I think that we could see him take a step forward. John Kaminsky is what John Kaminsky is going to be in the NFL. Pascal is not. Pascal could still be on the upside. We still could see him take a jump forward. And if he does, him and Marcus Davenport could be some integral pieces, but I'm not willing to give up on Pascal and just relegate him to a guy who sets the edge and can't rush yet. Because what I saw out of him in Kentucky was a guy who was athletic. I think he still has a potential to be athletic. Another guy that I'm looking out for that is, for some reason, just getting lost in the shuffle is Broderick Martin. DJ Reader getting the opportunity to mentor Broderick Martin. Broderick Martin getting the opportunity to commit himself like he said he was going to, similar to Aleem McNeil, getting his body together, doing some yoga and getting a little bit more bendy and a little bit more flexible, getting an opportunity to play with the lower pad level, not being as stiff. I'm excited to see it. I know that it probably all won't get fixed through this offseason coming into the season, but I think we'll see him take a huge step forward. And instead of being in sweats, he'll be on the field with shoulder pads on, which would be a great leap in the proper direction. And probably year 3, he might be a true problem when maybe DJ Reader is on the last season of his deal here, and maybe he's stepping into that position or allowing DJ to go into a 1-year deal situation or something like that. But I'm excited for those guys. I think that we have some pieces that could be special here in Detroit. I think we could have a special defense. I'm interested to see what else is coming. We don't have a pick until the 5th round. Are we going to trade into that 4th round? Are we just going to pick, wait until that 5th round to make a pick? It's been a long ride. It's been a long ride, man.
A long way to go from 61 to 164 or something like that as our next pick. I guess it's a long ways to go.
Yeah, we haven't got that O-line depth. Are we feeling like Corby Sourcedal and Awasika are the answers, and we're not too pressed about it, or will we make some type of move? It's all interesting to see, man. Is there some veteran guy that's still out there on the market that we're looking at? It's interesting to see. Tracy Walker, interesting to see, but just like you said, keeping it back on subject. Ennis Rakestraw, man. Our secondary, man.
It's loaded.
Detroit. Detroit, I don't even know if we're allowing flyovers anymore. Be careful. Be careful out here.
Luckily, we play in a dome, so we
Yeah,
don't have
that's
to
what I'm
worry
saying.
about
Like,
that.
yeah, that's what I'm saying, man. I don't know, man. Can you fly over the dome anymore? I don't no fly zone.
I really like what the Lions are doing. And yeah, I'm not done with Josh Pascal. That was my X factor last year. And you're right. I kind of throw him into the same category as Jameson Williams. Like last year was kind of his true rookie year, learning, figuring it out. We're forgetting about James Houston, Levi Onwuzurike. Like if those guys, any two of those guys take a big step forward, our defense is going to be in good hands. So for everyone freaking out about how we didn't get a pass rush, there's guys that Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell aren't done with yet. We're
Yep.
not just going to throw these guys to the side and just be done with them because they had a bad quote unquote rookie year, if that's what you want to call it. There's still a lot of guys out there that can make a huge impact on this team. Just because they haven't done it yet doesn't mean it can't happen. Not everyone comes to the NFL and has 18 sacks as a rookie. Like it takes some time to learn this game. You talk about like I'm just using this as an example, but Josh Pascal being athletic in the SEC versus being athletic in the NFL, there's a learning curve there. It doesn't just happen overnight. You got to show up and put your time in. You got to take your lumps and get your ass beat a couple times to really learn it. So I have a lot of faith in this team. Secondary's revamped, and I just love the idea, like I said earlier, of if someone goes down, I don't have to scout practice teams to bring another guy in here and start within 4 days. Like those days are done for this year. We've got some solid depth.
Yeah, 100%, man. And then I'm still bouncing out around new ideas, like the idea of DJ Reader and Broderick Martin being next to each other.
Problem.
Those are two freaking large humans.
That's 700 pounds of flesh you have to try to move.
It would be absolutely nuts. And if you're telling me if Broderick Martin at any point next season demands a double team, thoughts and prayers
with DJ Reader, who demands a double team.
That's what I'm saying. Like if Broderick Martin becomes a force if he becomes a pulse of a force, thoughts and prayers dealing with Aiden Hutchinson. Like I cannot even imagine. I can't imagine. The thought is actually making me drool. But
you could always blitz Jack Campbell right up the middle against those two linemen who are occupied trying to block 700 pounds of man.
Unbelievable, man. And then I just think about the division. DJ Moore, you know what I mean? Keenan Allen, Rome. Like we needed to. I'm not gonna say we needed to, but we got answers now.
We played chess with a lot of teams in this division today. We were texting with one of our friends who's a Vikings fan. We were like, hey, you guys went out, you got your running game. We put up a brick wall. You guys went out, you got Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, TJ Hawkinson. We went out, got lockdown corners. Same thing with the Bears, the Packers, having a nice little draft. I won't say I'm not going to hate on the Packers. I kind of like what they're doing, but fuck them at the same time. So real quick, I want to get into Brad Holmes because I sent you some tweets about how I want to read it so that I don't mess it up, but I sent it to you and we were just kind of going over what Brad Holmes's mindset was. This is from, I don't know who the source was, but this was on Twitter that Brad said he tried to trade up for Rakestraw, but teams didn't want to move down that far. Holmes said Arnold and Rakestraw were their top two corners in this draft.
Yeah.
Now, if you're telling me that Brad Holmes had Terrion Arnold, Rakestraw 1 and 2 in that order, and he got both of those guys, how can you come on any type of platform and say that he swung and miss? How can you say that, William?
Yeah, I'll be honest, man. All I'm worried about is our platform and how we evaluate this talent. If people want to question Brad Holmes, I'm gonna go ahead and do that. go ahead and do that. I'll let you do that on your own. Now, if we're gonna talk about what Brad did and talk about whether we like it or not, that's something totally different, and that's I think what we do here. But here at Detroit Den, and especially speaking for myself, but I think I feel real comfortable understanding and knowing the place that you sit in. I think that we just try to break down what happened and point out some positives, and maybe if there's any negatives, maybe point those out if there is any. But I can understand what's going on. To me, we have a division where there's a lot of receivers in this division. We have a GM who loves to draft the guys that he is high on, best player available, that fits the Detroit Lions. One of the things I said about Ennis Rakestraw, and one of the things that I've tried to make sure that I do when we're evaluating these players is I talk about who I like from a football standpoint. I talk about who I don't like from a football standpoint. And I talk about how they fit with the Detroit Lions. Ennis Rakestraw is somebody that I've always felt like could fit with the Detroit Lions because of the way that he plays the football game. So is there some little injury notches on it on his history? Does he get a little grabby sometimes? But if you're putting him in an environment, if he's got the traits, which I believe that he does, right, that's something we talked about before. But if you put him in an environment, right, where he's got to be a dog, I think that his game is going to elevate to new heights, right? To new heights. You cannot be around pit bulls every day and not be a pit bull, right? You can't be around lions every day and not be a lion, right? You're either going to elevate your game or you're going to get eaten. And if you know anything about them, if you watched any interviews, if you heard other people talk about them, you know that both of these guys are going to elevate their game. They're going to compete, and that's all we need is because whoever comes out of the smoke, right? Whoever comes out of the fire is going to be ready to go. And whoever doesn't quite win the job is also going to be waiting in the wings, hungry, uh, going to bed tired and waking up hungry, as they say, waiting for their opportunity. And I'm just excited for it, Steve, man. Like, I'm excited for dealing with Justin Jefferson now and Jordan Addison and Christian Watsons and Jaden Reeds. Like, there's no fear in my heart. Not that there was anymore, but now there's no worries. There's nothing but excitement because we got more corners than receivers to throw at you.
Yep.
I mean, if we're being real, and I like our safety situations, man. You telling me that I might just be playing Brian Branch on the back half?
Problem.
Like,
And
what's happening?
I'll say this. I was kind of keeping this up my sleeve, close to the chest. The San Francisco 49ers found formations to get Brian Branch off the field.
Mm,
And that's when the game kind of took a turn. If you can move him to safety and keep him on the field more, that might be something that Brad Holmes was cooking up here in this draft with Terrion Arnold and Ennis Rakestraw. If he can say, all right, that San Francisco game really took a turn when San Francisco started putting out formations where we didn't need Brian Branch on the field as a nickel.
yeah.
If we can have him on the field more now, and I'm not saying like our whole team strategy is revolving around Brian Branch as good as I think he is, but I think this is just one of those games within the games. Like we played chess with a lot of teams in our division. A lot of teams in the division had a good draft. Like we talk about the receivers that each team has. Like the Lions have receivers. They got to get matched up against Vikings, Bears, Packers. They all have good receivers. The X factor for me for these other teams is what I'll take for the Detroit Lions is I'll take my offensive line and I'll take my running backs against any one of those other teams in the division and I'll run it down your throat. I don't think they have that kind of capability. I don't think a lot of other teams in our division have that O line. They don't have our running back depth. I think we match up well. And I've been listening to these guys on the draft shows talk about how the NFC North might be the best division in football right now. And I kind of have to agree, as much as I hate to see a lot of other teams, I think some teams gained some ground on us today, but I'm not worried. We're the champions. We're being hunted. Like teams are adapting to what we're doing. We have to still, keep staying true to ourselves, building this defense. And I think that's exactly what we did today. We went out, we saw what some other teams are doing. All right, I'm going to take some corners. I'm going to match up with you guys. Come see me in November when I'm running the football down your throat.
Yes, sir. Yes,
End
sir.
of story.
Yeah, it's one thing that it's not. I understand that it's not Detroit Lions related, man, but we know that a lot of us here are Michigan fans, and even if you're not a Michigan fan, a lot of us are in Michigan. How you feel about that run of Michigan players, 3 in a row, bang, bang,
Yeah,
bang?
it was Corum went to the Rams, and then I think the Steelers took Roman Wilson.
Yep.
And then I forget who's
Browns,
the Browns took Zach Zenner. Yeah, it was pretty cool to see. And we had another one before that with Colson and Junior Colson and
going to Harbaugh. Colson with the Harbaugh.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of who the other one was. Or we had back-to-back Michigan guys taken. I'm drawing a blank right now, but there's two of them. They went Michigan 2 in a row and then 3 in a row. It was pretty cool to see. But yeah,
Yeah,
it's pretty awesome. But real quick, I want to ask you: did you see the outfits that they were wearing in the Detroit Lions draft
I
room?
did. The hoodies, man.
Brad
Yeah,
Holmes knew exactly what he was doing this
yeah,
morning when he
yeah.
woke up.
He did, man. I think that, man. I love all of it, man. I love all of it. I'm just, and this is me getting sentimental, I guess, but I'm just proud to I'm proud to be from Michigan right now. I'm proud, I got a lot of family in Detroit. I'm not originally from Detroit, but I got a lot of family in the city. Spent a lot of time in the city growing up, and I'm just proud. I'm just proud, man, of how we showed up to this the draft, the event, uh everything that comes along with it, with the commercials, with Eminem and the commissioner. Just Detroit put on, man. Well, with Michigan, we put on, man. It's been awesome from finally finally having a team that is worth talking about for the world, not just us diehards, right? That was gonna rock with the team when we were 0-16, no matter what. Now the world is on notice for Detroit. The world is on notice for the Detroit Lions, and hopefully this will mean more things. Maybe we do get another draft before we're gone and off of this earth, man. Maybe we do get another Super Bowl. You know what I mean? Um, how can you not pay attention to what's happening right now? Again, today, day two of the draft, they had to pause admission because they were packed. Right, they were at capacity.
Did you
The,
see
the,
the video? There's people breaking in yesterday, going
I
underneath
did,
the.
I didn't, man. I didn't, but it's nuts, man. It's nuts. Like
Yeah,
it truly is.
it's a good time finally to be proud of being a Michigan fan, winning a national championship, a Lions fan. Like I had one of my buddies up here, and he goes, "Man, are you going to see the Michigan win a national championship and the Lions win a Super Bowl all within 6 weeks?" And I was like, "Buddy, this is like a dream come true." And we
Yeah,
were close, but it was still a good season.
yeah.
But just going back to the draft, one thing I did notice tonight, and we weren't there. We came home today. Um, I forget who it was. I want to say it was Washington. Whoever was making the picks for Washington, when he came up and he was talking about Jaden Daniels, I don't know what sparked it, but out of nowhere, I don't know if you noticed the Jared Goff chants in the
Oh yeah,
background
yeah,
that was
yeah,
taking over
yeah,
the
yeah,
TV and you
yeah,
couldn't even hear the guy
yeah,
at the microphone.
yeah.
Like that is the stuff that we're talking about. Like it's awesome to see Detroit fans showing up. 500,000, gonna break the record. And I'll tell you right now, me and Will have already had discussions about trying to take a trip out to Green Bay next year for the draft just to see how they shake up against us and to be realistic because I think this is going to be tough to beat. We're breaking records. I don't know if Green Bay's up for it. They can't beat us on the football field. I don't know if they're going to beat us in the draft either. So we'll just leave it at that.
Hey, I'm not gonna speak to that, man, because I had a rough Thanksgiving. So I'm gonna watch what I'm gonna watch what I say here. But I will say that Green Bay, I don't know if you can show out like Detroit did, man. Detroit, they did something special, man. It's gonna be hard to top. I'm looking forward to tomorrow and seeing or today and seeing what they do as far as breaking the record. Because I mean, at this point, why just break it?
Shatter it.
Demolish it. Yeah,
Yeah.
demolish it. Put something out there that's gonna be tough to beat, man. If you haven't been out there and you got the opportunity, get out there, man. They got the draft experience, they got the combine experience, they got a bunch of activities. Get out there early, take advantage of it, and just enjoy it, man. And then just enjoy the city. There's a lot of pop-up shops, there's a lot of eateries, just a lot of things, man, that it's just a beautiful sight to see, man.
Yeah, just don't trust those Asian blackjack dealers. That's all I'm gonna. That's my word of advice. If you go to Detroit, I got some unfinished business with a guy up there that I plan on settling this fall.
Hey, handle
But
your business.
guys, we talked about Ennis Rakestraw, the Lions defense. I don't see any negatives with this pick. Again, took me by surprise only because I wasn't expecting a corner. I'm trying to, defend myself here. I'm honest. I could have just said, yeah, I love the pick from day one, from the second it came in. I was a little taken back, but at the end of the day, I love it. I love what the Lions are doing, building that defensive backfield. You're not passing the ball on us for 450 yards a game. Those days are over. Got some solid depth. So leave some comments down below. Let us know how you feel. Hit that like button. If you're new, stick around, subscribe. We'll be back later with another show.
Peace.